If we believe what scientists, environmentalists, and an increasing number of politicians tell us, the environment and climate change should be key issues going into this federal election. But recent polls indicate that the majority of Canadians believe the economy is the most important issue facing the nation. The leaders of the four major parties have already been engaged in heated debate with each other over who has the best environmental plan and which party is committed to taking concrete steps to reduce carbon emissions. The key debate now centers on which policy to adopt.
Everyone now, economists and scientists, the messages are coming home, the evidence is clear that the only way to do it is through a carbon tax.
The Liberals have set a target of a 20% reduction below 1990 levels by 2020. Their carbon tax is supposed to be revenue neutral, shifting the tax burden from income to CO2 emissions.
You hear that from Nobel Prize laureates who are economists and scientists who would say, you've got to deal with a carbon tax. It's the only realistic and one that will give you the kind of results that you're looking for. So we did do that.
But some of the other parties believe that a carbon tax could negatively impact low-income families and hurt the economy.
A cap and trade system, we believe that that should be put in place based on what we've seen in Europe.
The NDP planned to meet Kyoto targets by 2012 and cut emissions by 80% below 1990 levels by 2050. Their cap and trade policy gives industry a cap on emissions, forcing them to pay a fine if they go above the quota.
You set a price for carbon. You ensure that there are clear penalties if you don't meet the emission reduction requirements, and through when those are not met, through a trading system, that money is reinvested back into renewable energy sources.
Well, we have to protect our air and our water and our food. We are seeing increasingly the stuff of life, the things that support us as living creatures on this planet, being poisoned.
The Green Party calls for an even higher reduction in emissions of 30% below 1990 levels by 2020. The carbon tax would start at $50 a ton, and they support cap and trade but say it takes time to implement.
You need a carbon tax to put a price on the emissions of carbon into the atmosphere that will then level the playing field and drive investment into renewable energy.
The key points are a reduction by 2020 of 20% of greenhouse gas emissions net.
The Conservatives propose a 20% reduction below 2006 levels by 2020. They have come out strongly against the carbon tax and believe that increased enforcement of current environmental laws is the best mechanism to reduce carbon emissions.
Providing serious fines for serious crime.
Conservative candidate LORNE MAYENCOURT previously supported a carbon tax as a BC Liberal. Can you explain why now you're with a party that doesn't support that for a federal?
Absolutely, I can. The distinction, you have to look at the word carbon tax as a label for the BC Liberals and a label for the federal Liberals. And the difference is as stark as one shade of green to another, dark green or lime green, okay?
I mean, you look at Norway. Norway has had probably some of the most successful results in terms of changing their environmental practices.
I think the biggest problem with the carbon tax is whether people believe that it will actually be revenue neutral and that they won't end up just paying more for everything.
Yeah, I've heard that line from the NDP that the reason they don't like it is because it's a socially unjust tax. Well, again, they're not being honest with Canadians. And they are saying that they would have a cap and trade system that would generate some revenue that they would use for socially progressive or environmentally progressive programs. Countries that have implemented cap and trade don't generate a lot of money.
The difference with the carbon tax that's being proposed by Dion is it's like a flat tax. It's everything under the sun, basically.
I think it's disgusting that leaders like Stephen Harper and Jack Layton are diverting attention away from it, saying that this is an election all about the economy. He obviously doesn't get the link between our economy and our environment. The fact that if we don't get action on global warming, we stand to face an incredibly chaotic economic future.
Whatever the outcome of this election, these debates are sure to continue. This is Daniel Freudeveau reporting for Vancouver IM.